Good evening, everyone.
Kavod Taraf, how are you?
Baruch Hashem, thank you. Okay. Okay. So we're doing tet. צריך לשב בשעת המורך בין אם היה הולך כשאכל. So it tells you the truth here that when you say Birkat Hamazon, you have to sit. So you really shouldn't say it standing up. So it says a bit Yosef, Maskanat Gemara. This is the conclusion of the Gemara. בסוף פרק 3 שאכלו, over there in ברכות. נון א' עמוד ב', כתב רמב"ם, says Rambam, פרק ד' בדיעבד, אם ברך כשהוא עומד, או כשהוא מלך, אז יצא. But Rambam says, בדיעבד, if he did it when he was standing or walking around, he did fulfill his obligation. ונראה מדבריו שם, דברכה מעין שלוש, נמי צריך לאומרה ביושר. So it seems from the words there, he says, that also מעין שלוש, right, which is על המחיה and things like this, על העץ and על הגפן. All these things that we say, these brachot, also they should be sitting down. Lechatchila. So it says in Mordechai as well. So that's the story, right? These things you should say them sitting down, at least lechatchila anyway. That's the proper thing to do. Okay, great. So this is Tet and Yud. So let's see Shulchan Aruch here. This is Shulchan Aruch. צריך לשב בשעה שמברך, right? You have to sit at the time when you do ברכת המזון. בין אם היה הולך בביתו כשאכל. Doesn't matter how you ate. It could be that you ate standing up or you ate walking around. או עומד או מסב, right? Or whether you were standing or right, lying down, whatever it is. כשמגיע לברך צריך לשב. But when it comes to blessing, you have to do it sitting. כדי שיוכל לכוון יותר. So that you should be able to have more, right, כוונה, concentration. So you see that you concentrate better when you sit. That's what it is. וגם לא יהיה מסב. Also, right, shouldn't be lying down. שהוא דרך גאווה. Why? Because that's like גאווה. In other words, arrogant kind of thing. אלא ישב בהמה. Rather, you should be sitting, right, with fear. That's what it says. So says the Rama here, נראה דלאו דווקא מברך, אלא הוא הדין המסובין. So says the Rama, not only the one who's blessing, but also the others have to also be sitting down. The ones who are listening. As we said, nowadays we all say it ourselves, we don't really listen one to the other. So, we're all sitting anyway. It's the same thing. Im lo asaken, but if he didn't do so, afilu berach, even if he blessed, right, me'alech, walking around, b'diavad yatzai, b'diavad is a full obligation. So, okay, that's it. So we have one more Shulchan Aruch here. It says, "Yesh omrim shegam birkat men shalosh milomar tzarich miyosha leomra b'yoshev." So some say, right, also when it comes to men shalosh, as we said, ala michya, and all these blessings, we also have to say them sitting down. So it's pretty simple, straightforward, right? As we said, b'diavad, you fulfill your obligation, but lechatchila, you should be sitting down. Okay, so we're going to go to next one, Yud Aleph. So it says here about Yosef, כתב הראש, had ימין האחר כשהוא מהלך צריך לשב, גם זה בסוף פרק 3 שאכלו, וגם כתב הכל בו בשם התוספות, אבל כתב שיש חולקין על זה, ולפי דבריהם, אם אכל והוא רוכב, צריך להעמיד בהמה עד שיברך 3 ברכות. Okay, so before we get into this, I just want to see the language of the tour, and then we'll finish it. Because we're missing some pieces over here. So it says the tour like this. Katav Adonai Avirosa, right? It says the Rosh, Hadaminan Achal Kashul Melech. That which we said, right? And if he ate when he was talking, I'm sorry, not talking, when he was walking. When he was walking, but anyway, he has to, when he blesses, he has to sit. That's talking about when he's going in his house. If you're traveling on the road, right? You're traveling on the street, whatever, right? Outside, outdoors. That's a different story. Right? Then you don't have to sit down when you say Birkat Hamazon. Why? Because this will, actually distract him, if he has to sit down. Because he's traveling. Because that delays his travel. This is why he's distracted. Like we said in Brachot, so that's the end of the chapter, right? In the tour. So it's telling you, right, that if you ate outside when you're walking, then you don't have to sit down, because it'll distract you. The fact that you have to stop traveling. So you just keep on moving and saying Birkat Hamazon, right? There's no reason to stop. Okay, so let's see Shulchan Aruch. Wait, Yosef. That's the end of the chapter here. This is the last one. So let's see. So says Bet Yosef, Gam Zeh Besop Perk Shel Shashachlu. It's also there in this perk in Brachot, right? This statement of the Rosh. V'chen katav kolbo. That's what it says in Kolbo. B'shem Atosfot, name Atosfot. Aval katav sheyesh cholkim al zeh. But he says there are those who argue with this. V'lufi divrayim, according to them, im achal v'hu rochev. So according to them, if he was eating, right, as he rode on the donkey, whatever, on the horse, tzarich le'amida behema. So you don't have to stop the animal. You don't just stop. Ad shivarech shalosh brachot until he does Birkat Hamazon. Why? Because a person who's riding is considered like he's walking. So just like you shouldn't do it when you're walking, you also shouldn't do it when you're riding. Okay? So it's a machloket there. And then he goes on to say, in this book, Kitab Yoshem Atosot, says in the name of Tosot, שהמלך בדרך עומד ומברך אם ירצה ואין צריך לשב, ולעניין ההלכה נקטינן כדברי הראש. So it says, right, bottom line, he brings the Tosfot also, who seems to say like the Rosh. And so he says, halachically speaking, right, what do? We do like the Rosh, which was the first opinion, saying that what? That you don't have to sit down in a case like that. Katuv Berachot Chaim says in his book, Yerushalmi, Achal Yoshev, right, if he ate when he was sitting, Yoshev Umbarech, he sits and blesses, Achal Mesed, but if he was eating when he was lying down, Mitatef Umbarech. So then he just right, wraps himself up, in a talit, whatever, and he blesses. I guess means that he covers his head. So from here it says it seems like you can also bless when you're lying down. The truth is, I'm not really saying it right. It's not lying down; it's reclining, right? That's what he's talking about. Mesev doesn't mean, it means reclining. So I just correct that, right, to be more accurate. So okay, so let's see Shulchan Aruch on that one. Uh, Here it is. Okay, so it says, "Im hayal melech bederech beochel." Right? As we said, right? If he was walking as he's ate, in other words, he's going on the road, he doesn't need to sit down to bless the pisha and because he won't have good concentration like that. Okay, so it seems like we have here one more. It's probably in the Bit Yosef because in the tour it was already done. Right, so it says in the Bit Yosef, Krasina Yerushalmi, it says in Yerushalmi, in Brachot, Shasu levarech vehu osek b'mlachto. You're not allowed to birkat hamazon when you're working, right? So in other words, don't try to be like to kill two birds with one stone. Yeah, I'll do some work, and I'll say birkat hamazon. Yeah, you're not gonna have concentration like that. That's the problem. So do not attempt to do such things like this. It's not proper to do that. One thing at a time, right? First do birkat hamazon, and then when you're done, continue with your work, right? Whatever it is that you're doing. Especially in our times, right? People are, always playing with their phone, right? So, don't do Birkat Hamazon while you're texting, things like that. That's not proper, obviously, right? It's going to distract you, so you shouldn't do that, things like that. Same problem, right? Texting, whatever, or doing all kinds of stuff, right? On the phone there, right? Looking at checking out the posts, whatever, right? All kinds of stuff like that. You don't want to do that when you're saying Birkat Hamazon. It's going to distract you, all these things. So obviously, right, that's very improper to do that. So good. Let's go to Shulchan Aruch. That's the last one, and we're done. So Asur levarech ve'osek b'mlachto, right? So in allowed to bless, as we said, right, when you're doing your work, So first say Birkat Hamazon, and then go do your work. That's the way it is. Okay, great. So let's move on to the next chapter, which is Kuf Pei Daled. Okay, let's try that. And then, okay. Yeah, so we spoke about this topic before a little bit, and now we're gonna full fight complete all the issues with this topic. So this is an important one because it happens also quite often. So a person needs to know what to do with this. So it says like this. Let's start with the Torah. Right? Let's say a person ate and left his place. He didn't say Birkat Hamazon. Doesn't matter whether you did it on purpose or by mistake. So as we already said right before, that a person shouldn't leave the room without saying Birkat Hamazon. Because we're concerned that he's going to forget it. So here in this case, he did forget, right? Or he did it on purpose, whatever it is. He left the place, So now the question is, what do you do now if you already left and you went to a different place? So he says, "Sarich lachazon kamo u'varech." You do have to return to your place there and bless over there where you ate. Berach b'makom habet. If he blessed right in the second place that he went to, im haya shogeg, if it was inadvertent, yatsa, he fulfills obligation. Ve'im haya mezid lo yatsa. If it was on purpose, he didn't fulfill obligation. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. So person has to be careful with this. So let's go to Bet Yosef, see what he says about that. Okay, sorry about that. More internet problems.
It's all the wind in California.
So we'll go back there. So here we are. So it says in Bet Yosef regarding this. Perek Elul Dvarim, right? This is the place for it. Where is this? In Brachot, Nun Aleph Amud Bet. Tanam, there's a Mishnah there. Mish Yachal v'Shachach, a person who ate and forgot, right? But lo berach, but he didn't bless Birkat Hamazon. So Bet Shammai Omrim Yachazon Kamo. Bet Shammai says you have to go back to your place and bless over there. Bivarech. Bet Hillel Omrim Bivarech Bimkom Shinizkar. Bet Hillel says no, you can just bless wherever you remembered in your new place, whatever. V'Gemara, it says in the Gemara, Nun Gimel Amud Bet, Machloket B'Shachach. So it says that Machloket is only when he forgot. Aval B'Mezid, but when it comes to Mezid, in other words, he did it on purpose. Yachazon Kamo, he has to go back to his place. Vivarech and bless there. Katal Rosh, says the Rosh. The Beseder Rab Amram Pasak Halacha Kebet Shammai. In the Sidur of Rab Amram, he paskin like Bet Shammai. וכן כתב רבנו יונה, also רבנו יונה, בשם הגאונים, name of the גאונים. אבל הרמב"ם, פרק ד' פוסק כבית הלל, but Rambam paskin like Bet Hillel, וכן יהיה לרבנו יונה, and רבנו יונה also seems to agree with that. כתב רמב"ם, דאף אגב דממזיד צריך לחזור וברך, so says Rambam, even though if you did it on purpose, you have to go back and bless, you have to return there, במקומו, in his place, אם בירך במקום שנזכר, but בדיעבד, if he blessed in the place I remembered, יצא ידי חובתו, so he did full his obligation there. And then he says, מה שכתב רבנו בירך במקום השני, and that which the Torah said, if he blessed in the second place, אם היה בשוגג, if it was right, inadvertent, יצא, it fulls obligation. היה מזיד, if it was on purpose, לא יצא, he didn't fulfill obligation. Yet, so it says, seems like he's going to his reasoning, שפסק כבית שמאי, because he passed like בית שמאי, ששוכח יחזור למקומו. So, because, meaning to say that if he forgot, he has to return, ויברך and bless there, ואם איתה במזיד לא מחייב לחזור למקומו, so it says, if so, that on purpose, he's not required to return to his place, אלא לכתחילה, only לכתחילה. מה יקיקה בין שוגג למזיד? So then, no big difference between שוגג למזיד. הילקח, על כל כך לומר, so therefore you have to say, he says, שאם בירך למקום השני, if he blessed in the second place where he went, shogeg yatsa. If he was inadvertent, he fulfills his obligation. Mezid lo yatsa. If it was on purpose, right, he did not fulfill his obligation. But the Rambam, according to Rambam, though, shepasak kibet hillel, he passed like bet hillel, the shogeg yivarech b'makom shenizkar. If he was shogeg, if it was inadvertent, he blessed in the place he remembered. Mistayen deasuke darga b'mezid. למקנס שיחזור למקומו לכתחילה, אבל אינו בדין לעסוק כתרי דרגים, לומר דאפילו בדיעבד לא יצא. So he says, right, that we can, maybe punish him one degree, but not 2 degrees. To say, right, that even if b'diavad he didn't fulfill his obligation, that will be punishing already 2 degrees. כתב הראש, איזה ראש, דהד יחזור למקומו, that which we said, right, that he returns to his place, vivarech, and blesses, dafka birkat hamazon. That's only birkat hamazon. Aber b'shivat aminim, but right, when it comes to the 7 species, en teonim bracha le'acharem minkomam. You don't have to really be in their place, Ela vivarech b'mkom shenizkar. You can bless wherever he remembered. So what does it mean to say by that? He's saying that when it comes to, the other blessings, right? Man Sheba, right? Not Man Shalosh, right? Those ala Michya and ala Gefen and ala Etz, right? All these things, those blessings, b'diavad for sure. If he left, he doesn't have to go back to where he was. But lechatchila, we all say that he should bless in the place where he was. Lechatchila. The only question is b'diavad. The question is b'diavad. It's not like Birkat Hamazon. So therefore, we tell him, wherever you are, bless over there. You don't have to go back to where you were. Okay, so Tzarich lomar de Birkat Hamazon denakat lav davka. So he says you have to say that when it says Birkat Hamazon, not only that, not precisely. Ela midi de shayach v'mina de mazon kamar dehainu kol minei dagan. So whatever, right, is dealing with mazon, right, the grains. It's all the same. Because since it satiates you, right? Bracha shehu mevarech alav birkat hamazon. The blessing that you bless is birkat hamazon. Karele, it's called. That's what they calls it. Birkat hamazon. V'afal pi she'enu mevarech alav ela birkat bracha echad men shalosh. Even though it's really, men shalosh, which is one blessing really. Shari katav bepek arbe psachim, because it says over there in arbe psachim. The things which need a blessing afterwards, in their place, pat, what is that talking about? Bread and types of grains. So in other words, the mezonot, it's also included. That's what we're saying. That which you wrote, B'Shabbat Aminim, right? B'Shivat Aminim. 7 species, and teonim bracha le'acharem. That doesn't really need to bless afterwards in this place. Lav kol shiv'a minim kamar. He's not talking about all 7 species. Ela minei shiv'a chutz mechita v'seora. It's talking about everything besides wheat and barley. Because wheat and barley, after all, right, they're like bread, So Therefore, you do have to bless in the same place. That's what he's trying to say. But it says, I saw in the Rashba differently, right? He writes over there in the end of this parak, in Brachot, Shekol she'enom ta'on ela bracha echad, whatever needs one blessing, Vasof en ta'on bracha lechar minkomo. It doesn't really require, right, to be in the place where you ate. Ukvar nitbaer b'siman kuf ayin chet. So it was already explained, right, in this chapter, which is 178, there are those who say that all the 7 species do require to be in the place. So according to them, right, that you would have to go back and bless even on the 7 species. Wow. Okay. So we're almost done with this one. Let's one more piece here. So he says, Rabbeinu Peretz says it's talking about when he doesn't have any more bread. So let's see inside the tour exactly what he says. There's more stuff there. Right. That's only if he doesn't have any more bread to bless and eat in the second place that he went to. But if he has more bread to eat over there in the second place, he should eat there a little bit and bless over there then. As long as he's not hungry from the first eating. That which we say, that things that require a blessing, right? Afterwards, come on, in their place. Perush, if he doesn't want to eat in the second place, he has to go back to his place. But if he wants to eat in the second place, he doesn't have to go back to his place. Okay, that's already something else. Let's go to Bet Yosef. Let's go. So regarding this, says Bet Yosef, this is what it says also in the Hagaot HaSamak. The Avihu Hagaot Maimon also brought down there, Hagaot Maimon, Perk Dalet, Ukvar Nitba'er B'siman Kuf Yud Chet. It says, we already explained this in the 178 chapter there. Katab Aran, the Ran says, Beperk Arbe Psachim, in this perk, Tehad that which we learned in the Mishnah, Mishachal V'shachach, V'lo Berach, that whoever ate, right, and forgot, and didn't bless in his place, in Komo, Divarech Hanemile, he should go back to his place and bless there. Hanemile B'shochach, that's something he forgot. But he says, Kodem Shiakor B'inkomo, Tzarich Lavarech. But Lechatchila, as we said, right, obviously, he has to bless in his place, he shouldn't leave it all. Okay, so that's the Bet Yosef. So this is an important halacha, this is very practical. So we're going to see Shulchan Aruch, how he summarizes this all this in halacha. This happens quite often, these kinds of things. Shulchan Aruch, let's say he ate in one place, right? So the rule is he has to bless there before he leaves. Let's say he left, right, and he didn't bless there. If it was on purpose, what he did, he has to go back there and bless. But if he blessed in the place and he remembered, he did fulfill his obligation. Says Rama, that's according to the Rambam, he says. But according to the Rosh, that he holds that even b'shogeg, even if it was inadvertent, he has to go back and place the blessed there in the Chatchila. But when it comes to on purpose, according to the Rosh, even b'diavad, he did not fulfill his obligation. So the Rambam is telling you, right, that there's another opinion here. Okay, but it seems like we passed like the first one. So that's it. Ve'im haya b'shogeg. What about if it was inadvertent? He didn't do it on purpose. The Rambam yivarech b'mkom shenizkar. So according to Rambam, you bless where you are. You don't have to go back. U'Rabbeinu Yonah, but according to Rabbeinu on the Rosh, v'gam hu yachazor l'mkom yivarech. He also should go back to his place and eat. Right? So, all right. So what is the halacha here, right? Let's figure this out. So yeah, so in other words, in the first case where he forgot to bless, so not that he forgot, but he did it on purpose, right? So there we tell him you got to go back to your place. And but yeah, if you said it when the second place you did fulfill your obligation, that's halacha. And then if it was shogeg, right, if it was inadvertent, according to the Rambam, he can bless in the place where he is now. But according to the others, right, Rabbeinu Yonah in the Rush, he has to go back to his place. And it seems like the halacha is like the second opinion here, not like the Rambam. So if that's the case, right, there you go. So in these cases, it's apparently, right, you have to go back, l'chadchila, you have to go back to where you were. Only badiabad, if you did not and you blessed, you're okay, Okay, that's Aleph. So let's go to Bet. Right? It says Shulchan Aruch here, "Bamidbar kashen lo pat od." When was that said? When he doesn't have any more bed. But if he has more bed, what could he do? Eat in the second place, right? Me'at little bit, v'yivarech and bless. As long as he's not hungry from the first eating. So that's your option, right? If you have more bread, you can eat more there. Then you don't have to go back. Okay, it's interesting. Then he goes on to Gimel. Some say, right, that all the 7 species require, right, a bless also to bless in their place afterwards. There's another opinion that says only, right, chameshet minei dagan dafka, only the 5 species of grain, but not the 7 species. So here also, right, the halacha seems to be like the second opinion. Yeshomrim that what? That we're only talking about the 5 species of grain. But this is only the chatchila, right? The chatchila you have to, bless where you are. But if you left already and you went somewhere else, so you don't have to go back. See what the Mishnah Berurah says here. So Mishnah Berurah says not like that, right? He says that you have to. It's just like the bread, basically. You have to go back. Same as we said with the bread. So that makes sense, by the way, what he's saying, and the reason is because that's the way it was in Bet Yosef, if I remember correctly. But according to the second opinion, it's only the 5 species of grain. So it seems like that's how we paskin, For the 5 species of grain, you have to go back, but not for the others, not for the 7 species. So you ladies, do you know what species we're talking about here? I don't want to Just leave you empty-handed.
Would not that be wheat, spell, rye? No? Let's see that one.
You guys hear me?
Can you hear me, Kawataka?
Maybe we're not connected here. Good.
Can you hear me, Kawataka?
I don't hear you guys.
I can hear you, but can you hear me, Kawataka?
Okay, yeah, I think you're trying to talk, but I don't hear you.
I can hear you, but you
Maybe your
cannot.
microphone is off or something, whatever. I don't know. Not really sure what it is, but anyway. So I'll tell you guys, since I can't hear you. So when we say 7 species, right? What are we talking about? We're talking about the species that Eretz Israel, right, is praised for them. All those special fruits. So that's talking about grapes, right? Figs, dates, pomegranates, olives, and then you have right the wheat and rye, wheat and barley. Those are 7 species. So that's according to the first opinion, right? But according to the second opinion, um, we're also talking about not also, but we're talking about only the 5 species. So what are the 5 species? The 5 species of grain, right? Which is wheat, barley, spelt, rye, right, and oats. So it seems like the halacha is like the second opinion, which means that only for the 5 species you have to go back. But for the other fruits that right, of Eretz Israel, those special ones, it seems like you don't have to go back for those. Okay, let's try one more. So now we're going to do Dalid. So it says the tour like this. Let's say a person ate and he doesn't know if he said Birkat Hamazon. In other words, he doesn't remember. He forgot. So you do have to bless from a doubt. Okay, so maybe we should try to beat Yosef on that one. So it says over here, as we said, right? Tama mishum de birkat hamazon min Torah. So he says the reason why you have to bless if you're not sure is because birkat hamazon is from the Torah. So when in doubt, you have to be stringent. Like it says in this perek, regarding that which we learned in the Mishnah, Baal Keri me'aher belibo, right? That the Baal Keri has to think in his heart the words of Torah. Okay, that's not really related to us, but anyway, Katav Rosh Beperek Nizkar. It says the Rosh over there in that parak, Gabe Sapek Kara Kriyat Shema, regarding a person doubtfully who read Kriyat Shema, Sapek Lo Kara, if you didn't read. Sheposek B'Shiltot, he paskins in this rabbi, the Chol Brachot the Barabanan, Sapek Ale. When it comes to blessings which are from the rabbis, when there's a doubt, Im Amaran, if he said them, and Seich Lachazor, you don't have to go back and bless them. The Brachot Deoraita, Alma, the brachot, the writer. So you see from there that which the blessings are from the Torah. Then if he does have a doubt, he has to go back. כתב הרמב"ם פרק ב' שאם נעלם ממנו ולא ידע, the Rambam says like this, right? If he forgot, he doesn't know אם ברך דרך המזון, if he did ברכת המזון, חוזר ומברך כל זמן שלא נתעכל מזון אשר בהמה. He can still bless all the while that he didn't digest his food yet in his stomach. פרק ד' כתב מי שנסתפק לו אם ברך המוציא עוליו, and then it says later on that if he has a doubt whether he did hamotzi or not, then you don't have to go back and bless, right? That's only from the rabbis. It's not from the Torah. But and then it says when it comes to blessings of other things, katav kol brachot ha'elu. He says all these blessings. He says im nistapek lo behem. If he has a doubt regarding them, im berach olav. If he didn't bless or not, berach la barach. He doesn't have to go back and bless again, right? Because these are from the rabbis as well. Lo betchila velo besof. Doesn't matter whether it's beginning or end. Okay. Because these are rabbinical. וכל זה על השורש שהשריש שאין שום ברכה מן התורה אלא ברכה שלאחר המזון לבד. So he says this according to the notion that the only blessing which is from the Torah is only birkat hamazon. All the other blessings are derabanan. They're from the rabbis. ומשמע שהוא סובר שאפילו ברכת so it says implies that he holds that even birkat men shalosh, even men shalosh, and min Torah, that even the right ala michya is not from the Torah. Afilu ala michya, lefichach katav. Therefore, he writes, din ne'elam mimenu v'lo yada. That when it comes to just if you forgot, doesn't remember if he said it, im berach le'achar mazon, if he blessed after the meal, kodem shekatav birkat hamachameshet min adagan. Before he wrote about the 5 species of grain. V'siman reish tet echtov b'zeh od. I'm going to write furthermore about this in chapter 209, b'siyata dishmaya, right? God willing. Okay, good. So we're done with that. Let's see Shulchan Aruch, and I guess we'll stop there. So it says here in Shulchan Aruch, אם אינו יודע אם ברך ברכת המזון אם לאו. So if he doesn't know, right, whether he blessed ברכת המזון or not, צריך לברך בספק. He does have to bless because of the doubt. מפני שהיא מן התורה. Why? Because it's from the Torah. Right? So therefore, whenever you have a doubt regarding something which is from the Torah, you have to do it again. You have to be stringent. But the truth is, you don't have to tell you that my rabbi says that this only applies to men, When it comes to women, they don't have to, when there's a doubt, they don't have to bless again. And the reason is because women, some say that their obligation for Birkat Hamazon is only from the rabbis, it's not from the Torah. So because of that doubt, they don't bless again, the women. Also, another thing is, which is that if you ate only a little, right, and you were not satiated, so there also, it's not from the Torah. It's only from the Torah when you're satiated. So if you're not satiated, it's only from the rabbis. If you had a kazait or more, right? So there also, if there was a doubt, you would not bless again. So the only time you would bless again for Birkat Hamazon would be if you're a man, number one, and number two, also you're satiated. Otherwise, you would not. Okay, so thanks for coming. Be blessed with wealth and health and happiness. Chazak Baruch Laila Tov. We'll see you tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem. I don't hear you guys, so I don't know what's going on. I'm not really sure if you guys hear me or whatever. So, well, you'll let me know, whatever. Not really sure what happened. Okay,
can
so
hear
we'll
you
see you
now.
tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem.
Thank you, Kavod Hara.